All right, hello everyone. We are back for part 5 here. So I'm just going to open up this card again and see where I am from last time. In those Tour 3 chests, I did get some decent cards. I think I unlocked Big Dog. Maybe something else. Machete, I believe. So things to start thinking about. I am still just a little bit tight on coins, at least until I get through Tour 4. So I'm just going to, for the most part, just kind of take it easy. Let me see if I can't just go back to this basic ball. If you guys didn't go ahead and pick up those vintage balls, they gave us free vintage balls today. So I was fortunate enough to get those. Let's keep going here with Tour 3. We're about potentially 5 games away from closing this tour out. If I can manage to win them all. So let's take a look here, see what we got. My opponent there. There it goes. There it goes. Ooh, nice little tailwind. So let's take, well, wow. 704 games in this. So my biggest concern is probably their clubs. Looks like they play on the computer as well, because I don't know how else you could hold your camera that way and actually work through this. So I didn't quite get to see what kind of clubs they're playing with. Doesn't look like they're using power here. With the straight arrow here, it's going to give me a good chance to be able to get down here. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Went for a bounce shot. So that was a little risky. I'll usually curl that back to the left when I go for that. However, I'm just going to kind of go up this way. It's the preferred way that I go. Technically, I don't even need to overpower this. So I'm basically going to just back off and really just kind of take it easy. So that way I can just ensure that I at least don't do anything too wrong. Like, it's okay if it rolls in the rough, I guess. I'll be okay as long as I get that first fairway bounce. So I wanted to make sure that I, at the worst, was a 1-ring great ball. So whatever power level, I was comfortable doing that. As you can see, I am able to hold on to the fairway there. And in the tailwind situation, that's the tee shot that I recommend. Just take some time to kind of figure some things out, especially with this tailwind. You don't even need to overpower with that tailwind. So my opponent here could just basically do what they're doing here and should be able to. Yep, especially with that great ball. It probably actually helped. It's going to get it a little bit more centered. So, that's the definite way that they should have went from the first time. But nevertheless, they at least put themselves in a position here to maybe get 3. So let's see what I can do. I'm down close to min club, so I'm thinking maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 5-ish per ring. And at 5-ish per ring, we're usually looking at maybe 1 ring here. I might not even go a ring. Go maybe about right here. You can see what that looks like in terms of my aim. A little bit of top spin because I'm such at min club. I want to make sure that it comes in. It did deflect off the pin. I wanted to use a little bit because I was so much at min club. But you can see it actually deflected off the pin. I hit the pin just a little bit too hard. I ended up using just a little bit too much top spin. I know I can usually put it on the front of the green there at about mid club and it'll still reach the pin. I was so short that I knew that the bounces were going to be a little bit shorter. So that's why I was trying to add a little bit of spin just to be on the safe side to make sure that it rolled out. But you can see I added too much. But let's take a look at what my opponent does. It looks like they're able to actually get that one coming in way too hot. So that was coming in hotter than mine, and theirs went in. So if that just doesn't tell you something about, you know, definitely a luck component to the game. Because their third hop hit the hole. My third hop was about 4 yards in front of it, and it just rolled out faster. And I deflected the pin, and that one goes straight into the cup. So let's take a look here. What I'll typically do is maybe about 2 backspin here. Oh, very small wind. That is somewhat favorable for my opponent here. We'll see how good they are with aiming. If you don't use any spin, it's probably going to come in a bit hot. So let's take a look. They are short hitting it though. So as you can see, it does come in just a bit too much and just a little bit long on that back edge. What I'm going to typically do is use some backspin. I usually use somewhere between 1 and 2 bars. The more ball guide I can get, the better. So I'm thinking somewhere around here with maybe 2 bars of backspin. So you can see with where I'm aiming, and I'm thinking, you know, for the wind, very, very small. You can see I went very, very partial ring. It's not going to really require much. But you can see that it comes in just a little bit better speed, and I'm able to pick up the wind here. So 1.64, not too bad for as little ball guide as I have. Be easier to get it just a little bit closer once we get a little bit more ball guide. But here you can see we're going to keep moving along here. Try to close out this tour for you guys, I guess. I don't want to, you know, what I try to do early on in these tours is I try not to play too many games where I won't be picking up chests. So since I don't have a lot of coins to gem chests, I need to play just a little bit more strategic. And it's definitely going to help on this hole. Now, a couple different ways to do this. One of the ways that I can do is just kind of bounce it down there, which is what I'm going to try to do. Another thing that you can try to do is overpower it as well. So I'm a little bit worried about where I'm aimed here. Just going to make a slight modification because you can see how limited my curl is. I just have to protect against great ball to the right. So great ball to the right would potentially hit this rough. What I'm basically trying to do is just hop it down there. And it looks like I'm, so just needed just a hair more overpower. So that may end up costing me this game. Because I didn't, you know, I was hoping with that tailwind that it was going to get down there. It didn't. And now we're kind of at this guy's mercy a little bit. I'm going to have to pitch out and hole out for eagle. Alternatively, I might need my opponent to, you know, great ball or something. Like a great ball left here makes it very, very challenging to hit the fairway. So if my opponent was, but of course they great ball right, which is probably going to be better than perfect ball. So here you can see, you know, exactly what I was mentioning is just going to kind of shoot down here. That's an alternative way to play it. It's just a little bit more risky. I was, you know, especially in these early on games, I try to just be a little bit more careful. Now, we're not, you know, we're not totally out of this yet. So all I'm going to try to do is just kind of blast it down here. I just need to be somewhere on the bullseye. As I'm not aiming very aggressive, I expect to be able to hold the fairway. So depending on where my opponent puts this, if they're on the green, which I expect that they will be, you know, it kind of changes my mentality on how I'm going to shoot this. So I may just risk it and kind of go for it all just to try to force shootout. And as I mentioned, you know, I would expect my opponent to actually get on the green in a manageable putt, which sure enough, that's exactly what they did, which means that I have to now make this. So typically when I have to make it, you know, the wind's up a little high, unfortunately. Oh, wow. So I didn't even make it to short iron quite. I was hoping that it would just sneak in short iron, but it didn't. And with me not having backspin on this, I probably should go for the dunk. And I'm thinking somewhere around the neighborhood of 1-ish ring, maybe just a little bit more. So you can see with where I'm aiming, you know, it's kind of do or die at this point, so it really doesn't matter. The one thing that you'll want to do is be very, very centered. You can see I caught my perfect ball, and it looks like I'm able to get it. So barely more than a ring there. And you can see that I can still manage to pull that one out. At least get it to the shootout. So this is probably one of the easiest holes in the game. It typically requires almost no spin, which is one of the main reasons that it's so easy. So you can see my opponent's actually going to use topspin. I would imagine this to probably be a bit too much. As I mentioned, you really don't have to use any at all. And oh wow, and especially with Goliath, that's going to push it well offline. So you know, should have just gave me a, you know, pretty much open door here to be able to get this one. This is one of the easiest holes, though. You can see even though my opponent was way offline, you can see that the ball just kind of funnels to the hole a bit. So what I'm going to do here is essentially no spin. The only thing I have to avoid is the collar. So that's the only thing that I have to worry about. I'm using just a touch of backspin here. And as I mentioned, you know, the only real concern of mine is not getting collared here. And you can see it just rolls out towards the hole. I'm able to pick up another win. So let's keep going here. Be nice to get back on my basic balls because I really don't have the gems to be going through too many marlins yet. So if at all possible, it's nice to hold on as long as I can here. This guy's played about 60 games. So I'm still in the 20s. I've only played 20 games. Ooh, just clipped the rough. It looks like it's going to hold the fairway, though, which is going to save his opportunity. If that would have rolled into the rough there, would have made 3 a very, very tough thing to do. Again, we're going to have the same MO. As I mentioned, when we get tailwinds here, we don't even need to do any overpower. So all I'm doing is trying to use kind of the most that I feel comfortable to still hit the fairway with. So I need to make sure that first bounce is a fairway bounce to be able to get it down here far enough. Ooh, so this is a very, very holdable win for me. That's going to be good. It's going to give me a very good chance to be able to hopefully take this one without going to shootout. You can see it's very, very north, which means that with a perfect ball, I can essentially just try to run it into the pin and get the hole out here, because it's not really going to ever deviate from the line. So you'll just want to use the ball guide, which you do have, to try to figure this out. And since I am a little bit more towards mid club this time, I'm going to pretty much just kind of play my typical shot, which is no spin. And you can see with where my alignment is, I'm going to get it right about there maybe. And I'm thinking, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood, very, very similar to last time, right around one-ish ring. Just a tiny bit more. Perfect ball. And very good chance we're going to be able to get this one. Oh, so deflected off the stick again. One of the things that is tricky about this green, as you can see, I don't have any backspin, is it tends to do that kind of scoot bounce that you get sometimes, and it just runs into the pin. You can usually take away that as soon as you can start to spin it. But with that, with the way that the hill is there, if you've ever seen how it kind of shoots, it goes kind of up a hill and then down a hill. So what happens is the second bounce tends to hit that downslope and just kind of run through. Looks like I'm still going to pick up the win here. You know, if you ever miss the green, the biggest thing is perfect ball. You got to be right on the money in these early tours. So it's much better to just make sure that you do stay on the green, because you know, putting is going to be your biggest friend until you can get some accuracy on those wedges. You really want to get that wedge up to maybe about 70-80 accuracy before that you really feel comfortable on or around the greens. Now, I didn't get a gold chest. Since I didn't get a gold chest, I think I am going to take the opportunity to gem one here. So I do want to see if I can get that. You know, I really don't want to waste the gems to do that, but I also want to make sure that I get one gold chest to open up overnight. So it is guaranteed to come every fourth or fifth win. Fourth or fifth. It's guaranteed to come. So I do have one. So since I've already got 3 chests, that was the third, or was it the fourth? No, that was the third that I just earned. So if it doesn't come next time, then it automatically will come on the 5th. I've never seen it not come after 5. Whoa. So missing the fairway can be very costly on this hole. It can make reaching the green in 3 very challenging. So you can see my opponent just holds on there. Definitely something that you need to make sure of, is that you know, kind of just keep it in play here. So here you can see I get a great ball. I hope I didn't get too aggressive. It looks like I did. But mine also rolls into the fairway, so I'll still be okay. I try to favor that left side because it typically has a downslope on that left side. And you can see also the way that I was curling it. We should be good. You would never want to try to go for this green until you get just a little bit higher clubs. So it's all about the layup on this one. You're going to see both of us, we're just going to lay up, try to go for eagle, but probably go to shootout with a birdie. So you can see, you know, I don't need the longest drive to be able to pull this off. And the only thing that I'm going to do here is do some curl. Oh no, it's stuck in the rough. Wow. That usually always kicks right. Man, I hope I didn't take myself out of this hole. I may have just cost myself the hole. I would have never thought in a million years. It never bounces left. It's always way right on this fairway. So I was just playing off of intuition, which is, you know, with the limited guy, I can't believe it took a bounce like that. So let's see the damage that I did to myself. Looks like I'm just okay here. I knew it was going to be close. Looks like I am just okay. I'll need to probably do some curl, just a tiny bit of overpower. You can see I don't have much curl to use, but that's what we're going to do. Perfect ball. Just put this into the green somewhere. It's a very hard pitch to make anyway. So this guy's already in pro. He has almost 900 games in. I only have 28. Very, very tough to go up against an opponent like this. He's going to have me out-clubbed in pretty much every way on the shootout. It'd be nice if he's using a Goliath instead of a backbone, because if he's using a backbone, he could have as much as a backbone 7, 8, 9. Could be anywhere in that range depending on how much he likes to gem chess or anything like that. So what I'm going to do here, very, very similar shot to what you guys saw me do last time. Right around 2 on my backspin. Just try to aim right around here. And 1.4, I'm thinking somewhere about half a ring or so. Maybe just a tad bit more. Caught a great ball. Now, it is okay to miss to the left because it does feed down to the right. So it is okay to hit a great ball. To the left, not to the right. So if you miss a great ball to the right, you put yourself in a lot more trouble. So let's see what he has iron-wise. So Goliath 3 is good for me. So what Goliath typically does is it, it doesn't have the accuracy, but he is kind of using some backspin here. So let's see how this comes in. And if he was to, for instance, great ball this to the right, it essentially will take him out. Well, that should take him out of this hole completely, because there shouldn't be a way to get it to come back enough on line, because the accuracy is so low. So that's one of the biggest reasons that, especially in the early on, you want to kind of stick with the backbone. So let's keep going here. And you can see I did fill out that gold chest just like I was mentioning. I do believe I have at least maybe one more. Yeah, but it's only for one trophy. But coming back later to get it would kind of be an annoyance. So this will kind of make or break people. You can see into the wind. Doesn't look like he's thinking about going for it, which is good, but it looks like he is using a Kingmaker ball, which is not good for me, because that's going to give him just a little bit of an advantage on the shootout, being able to get the wind much, much lower than me. So it'd be helpful to beat this guy outright. He's not even looking at the island, which I'm a little surprised at. Because if you're going with a Kingmaker, he probably could have gone off the island. I don't think I can, because there's no way I'm going to use those balls against this guy. So I don't think I'd be able to go over there pretty much under any circumstance into a headwind. I could probably do it on a tailwind, but not going to even toy with that on this. So more than anything, just kind of get it in the fairway. Very similar style to what you guys saw me do in the earlier rounds. But this time, since I'm into the wind, just going to put just a little bit of top spin just to make sure that it actually kind of gets down here where I want it. So you can see here a nice little angle towards the pin. So let's see if I can get this one. It's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to have a little bit less range. I'll probably have to do it with the long iron again. Very similar to what you guys saw me doing before. Now we're going to try to, basically just min club this. And min club, I'm thinking 3 something per ring. So maybe about 2/3 rings here or so. You can see what that looks like alignment-wise. Maybe just a little short hit here. So I do expect it to kind of come in just a tiny bit fast. I shouldn't have short hit it. It looked like it was right on line too. So I was trying to, so in terms of how much of a short hit that is, it's probably about a ring's worth. So you got to be a little bit careful when doing that, but you could see that I was right at the min line, so I really needed to be just a little bit careful and make sure, I didn't want it coming in too hot, because that's what it's been. If you guys watch my part 4, I had this one coming in too hot a couple times. So let's see how I can do against this Kingmaker. As you can see, I have a pretty good handle on the shootouts here, so there's still a good chance for me. The winds are so small, it really kind of comes down to perfect ball. So let's see if my opponent, of course, I get to show him the way. So, very similar strategy to what you saw me do last time. And the biggest thing here, more than anything, is just going to be, getting your perfect ball, getting the alignment, stuff like that, making sure that you don't get fringed. So that's the only way you're going to lose here, almost automatically, is if you get fringed here. So right around 1 ring here. Perfect ball. And there it is. Sure enough, it's rolling right through. So it actually didn't hit the fringe, but you can see that it just kind of took off. And it's going to be hard to win when you get that bad break off the downslope there. So, it's very, very tough to win this hole when you get that bad break with that rollout. It just kind of hits that downslope, and there's almost nothing you can do. There's almost no way to control it, especially when you don't have side spin or anything. What I'll sometimes try to do is I'll try to bring it in off this side hill over here, but it's very, very tricky to do without any side spin. It's almost an instant loss when you do something like that. And the biggest reason why is because, it's so easy to get, within that. So it's going to come down to fractions of inches here at best case scenario. Best case scenario, he puts it back there as well. So let's see how his rolls in. His does roll in the same way, and it actually rolls off the back fringe. So definitely hanging on there by a thread. If it doesn't hit that fringe there, it does start to roll back, as you saw mine do. And it would just come down to who got more roll off the back of that fringe there. So very, very risky. You know, when you get that bad break like I did, that's why I use some backspin just to try to control that, but it still hit that downslope. And as I mentioned, you know, what I typically do to avoid that is kind of bring it in just a little bit towards the right. But ever since they flattened that hole out, it kind of changed the dynamic of that. Now here you can see where I'm up to coin-wise. I feel a little bit comfortable with upgrading some clubs. However, I want to kind of make sure that I get my first Tour 4 win, for instance. So you can see I'm maxed out here. I don't have trophies to lose when I'm maxed out. I can't lose any Tour 4 trophies. So with that being said, you know, that does make things a little bit easier on me here. The backbone's still pretty good in Tour 4. There is some advantage, but you can see here with 3,000 coins, I just want to make sure that I get that first win, for instance. So let's just say, hypothetically, I was to lose hole 1, I'd be down to only 3,000 coins. So I got to make sure that I get up to that 9 if I want to unlock these clubs, just to be on the safe side, because I'll just have to wait too long otherwise. And what you're going to see me do here, I'll probably use this Marlin. I really need some side spin. I really need some side spin here. So I need to keep that in mind. The shot is so risky. I guess I'm going to pick up some quasars just to be on the safe side here. You can see I don't have a lot of power. So with that being said, you know, I would still like to kind of get my eagle if I could. I caught a great ball. So let's see if it just clips the fairway here. Nope. So I have to get somewhat aggressive there if I want my eagle. And with a tailwind like that, that's why I was getting so aggressive. Because I knew I was going to be kind of probably out-clubbed. You can see what my opponent has well more games than I do. So I needed to kind of force the issue because we got a tailwind here. And I just called a great ball on the right, which, you know, I just couldn't do. However, you know, my opponent doesn't have this locked up yet. This is a very tough hole. If you don't go power, you can see he's not going the power route. This is going to be hard to get there in 2. So, you know, the best thing that I can do now is just kind of play positioning, because my opponent's kind of putting himself a little bit more towards max here. It looks like he just caught the fairway too. He's going to be kind of pressing max here. So, and as you can see, straight into the face. And just pitch out here, make sure that I get it back in play. So you'll see what I'm kind of talking about here in terms of the range, especially with him having big dog on. So you can see going for that rough, he's almost at the borderline. That's why I was trying to push the issue. So that's, if we would have got a headwind, I would have just laid up off the tee. Okay, so I do want to just kind of be specific there. You can see that he's almost close enough to be able to go for this. Now he's not going to make it, no matter what he does. But if he would have pressed the issue a little bit, he might have. So that's one of the biggest advantages as to why that I was just trying to be just a little bit risky there, because I didn't want to lose outright. So let's see what I can do here. I don't typically use very much spin here on this shot. I also don't want it to stop short, so I hope it does roll up there. So you can see with my alignment where I'm kind of pointed, I'm thinking somewhere maybe around here. Very little wind play. Ah, come on. They gave me a great ball. Can't believe it. It felt perfect to me. So I really do think that that needle is just a little bit skippy there, because I feel like I had that. So pretty much just have to avoid my opponent from holding this out, you know, not making perfect ball, for example. But even with perfect ball, you know, you still got to kind of take care of business. You can see he's short hitting it a little bit. Anything can happen when you do that. I mean, you never know how it's going to roll out when you short hit it. So the biggest thing that I can recommend is always pull it into the center to make sure that you know exactly where it's going to be landing. But here you can see I pretty much used the quasar for nothing. I wouldn't have needed it. I could have just, you know, I could have done everything that I did with a basic ball here. I will have a slight advantage on the shootout because I won't have to worry about curl. No matter what the hole is, I won't have to worry about curl or anything. I'll be able to really get my side spin grooved with having this Power 1 ball. So it does give me a slight advantage here. And also distance-wise, so see what we get. It looks like it is kind of a headwind, so this is actually also going to help me because you can see I'm a little bit maxed out here. So, and as I'm mentioning, you know, especially curl-wise, you can see with how I have this alignment, and we're going to go right around 1 ring or so. Just a little bit light of 1. You can see, oh, come on. Now I had a delayed needle. You gotta be kidding me. So that's probably gonna cost me the shootout. I had a skippy needle on that last one, and then this one just lags. It just took twice as long when that passed than it was supposed to. So may end up costing me. We'll just have to see. Man, come on. Very first time on Tour 4. That's annoying. That is annoying that that happens. Whew. So it looks like my opponent just caught the rough there. In the early levels, you know, you can get kind of a break. It looks like, you know, well, you know, I got kind of robbed to begin with there because there's no way that both of those shots were great balls. I mean, the one just flew right past, and then this one just hesitates that entire, it just completely lagged behind. So I got 2 bad breaks on that on that sequence of events there. Now I'd really like to get that pin chest, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to keep unlocking Tour 4s until I can get something set there. So, but now you can see I have 9,000 coins. With 9,000 coins, I feel comfortable enough. You know, I'm going to take care of my dart here. I'm going to take care of either machete or, you know, maybe both of these. You can see I can use that extra power in the event that I do get in the rough there. And similar here, you know, I can definitely use this, especially for only 300 coins. I could also knock this up, but, you know, I can't switch to it yet. I don't think, because of the accuracy being too low. So, you know, I might just hold off on machete until I can get a couple more cards. If I can get, you know, in some chests, if I can get that up to a 3. So once I see that climb to maybe another 20 cards, then I can start to unlock that one. But you can see with where I'm at now, let me just maybe jump in here. And you can see with the, you know, as hard as what I just had to do there on that shot, you could see with a Power 1, I was right at the front there. So it's almost like you need this extra, you almost need the Goliath there, which means that you almost need perfect ball as well. You can see with the backbone, It's twice as accurate, so it's half the deviation. So if you miss perfect ball, you'll still hit the island. If you try to go Goliath there with 0 accuracy until you start to get it leveled up. But you can see that I'm going to probably have to overpower. If that shootout keeps coming up, I'm going to have to use some overpower, which makes things just a little bit tougher as well. So now I do have enough coins for two matches, you know, and I don't expect to go on a 2-game slide. I do expect that, you know, in the early on, I feel comfortable enough that, you know, especially with my methods, that I can, you know, take care of business and maybe only go on like a 1-game slide. But here you can see kind of what we're up against here. Almost need to kind of, you know, we got a tailwind here. So you almost need to think about potentially going for this. You can see it's very, 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 very close. I don't want to, you know, have to buy balls here. But what I'd kind of like to do is kind of put myself up there towards the green. Just going to kind of go at it like this. I know it's going to probably end up in the rough. But if, oh, look at that. So I actually caught the fairway. It's going to give me kind of an alternate. I kind of thought it was going to maybe scoot through there, but it didn't quite. But what I can do is kind of get it up there close enough. Now, here's what I have to worry about, though, is I have to worry about my opponent potentially getting up by the green. But I would imagine that, you know, even if they were to get it up by the green, it's still going to be a hard pitch in the early levels. So, and you can see with what they're using in terms of balls as well. Using kingmakers. It doesn't look like they aimed at the fairway enough. So they're going to slide into the rough. It'd be really nice to be able to, you know, sneak this out against them, but I'm not sure I can. I really don't know what to do with this. I'm not too familiar with this shot. I'm going to try it with about 3 on the top spin. I would assume I'm kind of towards min club. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 3 top spin, but it's really a guess, especially with no ball guide. Very, very small amount of wind play here. Very, very tiny. Perfect ball. And it looks like that is just about perfect top spin, right around 3 there. So you can see I'm able to get that eagle. We should still be able to pull out the win here. So let's see if my opponent gets the perfect. Nope. So we are going to pull off the win here. Looks like it probably would have been coming in too hot anyway. That's the one thing about the machete. You could see with mine as well. It was just a little premature, which makes the ball guide really, really bad. So trying to pitch in there is very, very challenging. You can see another game that we picked up there. Oh, wow, another really challenging hole. So we're pretty much probably just going to play this one for 4 shots. Very, very tough to eagle this hole. This is pretty much the toughest hole on this whole track here. So the biggest thing that you want to avoid is a mistake off the tee. Now, of course, they have tons of games. So great balls are no good. You can see they're not even using power. So you do want to be very, very good. Keep it in play. But especially not going into overpower here. You're going to put yourself too far back that you just can't get to the green. So it's more about kind of setting yourself up for your third shot, more so than anything on this early going. So similar with me, I'm going to try to just go down to a basic ball. It's a good opportunity to use a basic ball. You can see we have similar drivers. Going to go just enough power that I feel comfortable. And I did stay away from that tree a little bit more from my opponent, so I should be able to hopefully hold on with that great ball. So that's one of the reasons that I was just trying to put it in the center. I wanted to make, avoid the right. I was trying to either go perfect or great ball left, was my thinking on that one. And you can see I should have just a little bit longer, well, which will end up being good because my opponent has a little bit longer wood. Now on these first tees, you can actually get away with big dog early on. It might not be the smartest because its accuracy is so bad, but you can get away with it until you start hitting this. Once you get to the point where you're using the second tee box, that club is awful because you almost need a wood on every shootout, which really makes things a lot tougher. So let's take a look here. Might just go just a little bit of overpower with some curl. And I'm thinking, don't miss left here. So you can see I caught my perfect. So, in that case, I was just trying to kind of favor the right side because I knew I was kind of cutting it just a tiny bit close on that left. So if anything, I was going to try to great ball right that. Or I could have just used less curl, but. So here you can see where we're at. In the early stages with no backspin, this shot is a little bit tougher. You can see my opponent's bringing this in well too hot. You don't want to go for the one-hop dunk, especially when you don't play the wind. But it looks like they do have a bar of backspin, which I don't. So that'll be my next upgrade. But they're not playing the wind, so chances are it's going to burn the right edge here. And you can see it still comes in a little bit hot. So, it gives you an idea as to what I need to do. Another thing that I can do is I could go for the dunk. And you can see mine will probably come in hot as well. So you can see I'm going to just short hit this a little bit. See if we can't get it to come in just a little bit better speed-wise and maybe catch the cup. It looks like it's still coming in a little too hot. So I didn't quite take off enough. But you can see my alignment was essentially right over the right half of the cup. If I would have just ran it into the pin, it was probably good. So we're going to get to the shootout. That was the biggest thing. I wanted to unlock that pin chest. So this is going to give me the opportunity to get the pin chest no matter what, win or lose on this shootout. We got the pin chest. So that's the primary concern. But especially in this early going, you do want to, not throw away too many. As you can see, I can only really throw away 2 games without almost running myself out of coins in this early stage. So you just want to kind of take it easy on these first couple. Now I should have just a slight advantage. I'm going to have to use full backspin here and just sneak it onto this fairway, and I'm still probably going to come in too hot. So this is a very, very challenging shot here. You can see with what I'm trying to do, kind of just sneak it up here. Make sure that I don't short hit it. Just sneak it up onto here. Get it to run out, and you can see relatively good speed. And this is the one hole that we probably wanted to see because it's actually going to be very, very tough for Big Dog to repeat that. So I'm not sure he has the backspin to do so. And that's one of the biggest reasons that you actually want to use the Viper early on, because you can see my opponent's not going to be able to stop the ball. Almost has to play a top spin rough shot. And the rough bump with no ball guide is very, very tough to do. So we're really not at risk here. You know, there's really nothing my opponent can do. So that's one of the biggest reasons that in these early stages you just want to, you know, try to use the Viper if at all possible. It's going to be very few holes where you end up losing to somebody who big dogged you. So do keep that in mind. You can see I also unlocked Tour 5 with that. So, and you know, this is a big package as well. This is the first really good package. You can see stack of 800 gems. That allows you to open 40 chests. Okay, so that's quite a significant. So that's, you know, when I bring up accounts, I'll try to spend, you know, what are we at now? $9 or something for these. It's like $9 for, and you could essentially have yourself, you know, over 1,000 gems where you're gemming 50 chests for only $9. So that's what I typically do with accounts, is I just basically take it up to, you know, maybe Tour 6 offer. Definitely pick that one up. And then I just try to, you know, build up from there. But the main intention for this is I'm just going to kind of show you what you can possibly do without spending. So you can see I'm on a 24-game win streak coming out at the end of this. I mean, I forfeited to Matt off the very first game. So, you know, other than that, I've only lost one time so far. You know, I did get just one or two breaks, but other than that, you know, it's just been kind of fundamental golf and, you know, just playing smart more than anything. And in these early stages, especially with no ball guides, you can see that if you kind of can master these concepts, you're going to be statistically better than half the guys, you know, over half the guys out there. So since you have the, you know, better outlook on things, you'll hopefully be able to, let's just check what I got here. Looks like I got some decent amount of gems. Ooh, some more extra miles, can use those. Another thing, I have extra mile in the shop. I don't know if I showed you. I picked up a couple of them, but you can see I'm very tight on gems, so I'm not going to go ahead and risk that. But if I do get it again, you know, I may just go ahead and dump all my gems into it. If I can get that to a 4, but it would also be nice to just get it from the Tour 3 chest that I have sitting there. So if I can get the cards to get that to a 4, I'm basically ready for the tournament. That's the only thing that you need other than 10,000 coins. You can see I just passed 10,000 coins. So I'll be ready for next week's tournament. I would have been ready for this week's, but I just didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to play the account this much. So you can see I'm 33 games in. I didn't want to play 40 games in like 4-day period of time, which is just kind of laziness on my part more than anything. But at the same time, you know, there's so much else going on that it's just like, I can't force this in 3-4 days. So, you know, I just sat out the tournament and I've just been kind of slowly, gradually building this up. So look at this as essentially like a 1 to 2 week commitment here to just kind of slowly build your bag up to where you can compete in the tournaments. And once you get up to that point, then we can go and try to start playing for some balls, because that's the main thing that we're going to want, is we're going to want to be able to get some of these Titans and Kingmakers for free. So we really want to shoot for a banner positioning, because we're really going to need those down the road, is to be able to get an inventory of those balls, especially, you know, if we're going the free route. So you can see how tight gems become, you know, and that's another thing. I might actually clan this up because it's going to give me a gem boost if I do. So good luck. You know, be on the lookout for part 6 coming up. Let me know how your guys' rounds are going, and hopefully you guys are kind of, you know, having similar results. If if you're, you know, on the same quest. So hopefully these are helpful for you so far, and be on the lookout for 6 coming up. Good luck, guys.